This is Grapplers Talk.
What is up, fans of Grapplers Talk? This is Dave coming at you with another awesome episode each and every week. Thank you to all of our fans for downloading the podcast wherever you're downloading. We appreciate it so very much. I'm excited for this one, man. We have a gentleman in the studio I've been friends with for a very long time. Man, we're just going over some old memories and some old stories from back in the day when we were in our younger years.
Very young.
Yeah. But I have a guy from Percision Jiu-jitsu Academy, one of the newest black belts in the academy out of many, right?
Yep.
Randy Barretto, man, what is up, brother?
Thanks for having me here, bro. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
Yeah, it's weird, man. And like, especially like looking back where we were at one point in our lives and looking nowadays, like what we're doing, how deep we are into the jiu-jitsu and grappling scene. And I mean, we're doing big things, both of us, so it's really awesome to see. And it's good to catch up with you, man.
No, man, it's been years. It's been nice.
So I wanted to have you on, man. You're a very long-time martial artist in general, but you've been doing jiu-jitsu for quite some time. I wanted the fans to get to know you a little bit, but let's talk about your early history because you started in Goju-Ryu Karate. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about when you started, what age you were, why you got into it, and then how it evolved from there.
I started with Tabone's Goju-Ryu out here in Stockton. So the reason why that even became a thing in my life was because I got tested for ADHD.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. Doc was like, yeah, he has it.
Yeah.
And then from there, my mom was like, let's put him in karate, put him in something with some routine, some structure. Didn't want to go the medication route.
What was the test?
I was so young, I don't even remember because I was like,
I'm just curious how they determined.
I was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember I was like super young, but I remember I were told that, so she put me in karate at Tabone's, and I learned how to focus really quickly after getting my belt taken away and having to do class without a belt and doing knuckle push-ups on wood.
Yeah,
like
pretty strict, right?
Yeah, it was very strict back then. Yeah. But it was necessary, it was needed, and I did that from I want to say like. I think she put me in at maybe like 5 years old, and I did that all the way up until high school. About 14 years old. And then I actually discovered music, started playing drums.
Did you get to black belt in karate or
what no, belt? I only got to green belt.
Okay.
I was never a very competitive person, especially just, being small. I was just was an athletic kid.
Yeah.
I was not.
Did you do like the tournaments or anything?
Yeah, I did the tournaments. Yeah. I really liked doing like the bow, the sai, and like the kata.
Yeah.
Doing that. I would attempt to do like the point sparring, but I was just never I wasn't aggressive. I didn't have that quality yet in me. So that was always like very tough. But having doing like the forms and the kata, I was like, yeah, that's fun.
Oh yeah.
That was good. And then once I stopped doing that, did music kind of took like a nosedive in high school. And then from there, my best friend, Devin Brown, shout out. He wanted to actually start jiu-jitsu. And he was like, hey, I want to do a class. I think, it was Andreas Salas. He was like, hey, Andreas trains over at Shingu Fighter. Why don't you go do a class with me? Because I know you've done karate. Will you go? I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. And this was like the summer going into our senior year. So it was like summer like 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
yeah.
like June,
that seems
July.
about right. That's where I'm remembering.
Yeah. June, July 2008. And then ever since then, like it just kind of took a hold of me. And then moved to Roseville in 2009. And then I started training with Gustavo Enriquez at Infinite Jiu-Jitsu. Trained with him from then up until 2016. Got my purple belt with him. And it was funny because I was like, back in the day, where like he gave us like 6 stripes.
I've talked about that before. Like I've seen people that had like, I've seen somebody not too long ago. They had like 6 stripes on their belt, and I'm like, why do they got so many stripes?
Man, I don't even know. I had 6 stripes. I'll never forget that. I have a lot of friends who like remind me back then, like, man, I remember you got 6 stripes on your belt. I'm like, yeah. And it was like blue electric tape on a karate belt.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a jiu-jitsu belt.
If you started at Shingu back in the day, you had a karate belt. Like
That was a karate belt.
Everyone had the karate belt. Like I've seen it. I've upgraded people to the jiu-jitsu belt with the bar
With the
ranking.
bar.
Yeah. Like we had this guy, Jason, and he started early Shingu, like 02, 03, somewhere in there. And sure enough, he had a blue belt, but it's all beat up karate belt. And I was like, dude, and it was small, you know,
It's like
shrank
very
down a
short.
bunch.
Yeah.
So we upgraded him to the blue jiu-jitsu ranked belt, and he was just like blown away.
Man, it's a thing. That was a thing, man.
Yeah, man. But a lot of people had those karate belts, man. Talk about those early days at Shingu. Like it was much different. Like if you started in those early 2000s and if you started in like 2015, right?
Yeah, big time.
So talk about those early days and how it was different in the style of jiu-jitsu. Like, you know, nowadays there's moves you can watch and there's different things and you see the standards in different academies. But back then there weren't as many academies around to kind of get the vibes. So talk about the early days of Shingu and how it was for you.
Yeah, early days of Shingu, like, you know, the best way I could describe it is like I learned how to be a man there. Like you either learned and took the beating or you just didn't come back.
Yeah.
Like, it's just how it was.
That's
like
that's actually probably the best way I've heard it put.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you either gonna take it and, you know, learn how to work around it and, you know, learn how to control your emotions in the moment and learn how to get better, or just don't show up.
Yeah.
And I remember I would get out of school and I would walk from Lincoln High School down over there to Pacific and that rolled up garage where it would be
hot as fuck.
Oh man, it'd be like 100 outside. It's like 120 in there.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget.
It would just
those
trap
days.
the heat in there, man.
I was so trapped the heat. And then that's back when we were wearing like those thick gis.
Like one like those.
Oh, like gameness ones. Like they're just pure judo gis. Oh yeah. And I remember I had that ripped gray gi for years.
Oh, that gi. So that was my gi. I'm glad you brought that up because so we're gonna take a back step for a quick second here in this story. When Randy first wanted to start jiu-jitsu, him and Devin were about to go in. He came up to me we were working at the school together in the summertime. He came up to me and he goes, "Hey man, I need a gi." And I said, "I got you, dog. I got one that'll fit you. No problem at all. It's sentimental to me. It's one of my first ones. I'm gonna give it to you." And I told you for the longest time, like, if it doesn't make it through, you still owe me a gi for it.
I owe you a gi.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it's still at my mom's house.
Wow.
Yes.
If you have it, that'd be amazing.
You know what?
Like the
I'll
top
check.
or something.
I'll check. I
Yeah.
will check. But yeah, that gi.
Yeah. That was one of my first ones. Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. I am so sorry.
I'm on a quest for my original gi too. If anyone's got a lead on it out there. So I had this Gracie gi, right? And the legend that I got is it was given to somebody and by Caesar Gracie, and that person gave it to somebody else, and then that person gave it to me.
Oh shit.
So it was originally Caesar Gracie's gi, but he had given it down the line, and I ended up with it. I don't know how true that is, but it was true to me. Damn it. And
no, it's true, dog.
yeah. And so anyways, I had let Bobby Curley borrow it, and he used it for a long time. And I know the pants got destroyed. They got ripped or something like that. They were old, whatever. But the top was still around up until a few years ago from what I heard. The next lead I got on it was JC said he let somebody borrow it. I recently sent that person a message. Actually, it's even weirder than that. I didn't even send that person. I sent that person's wife a message on Facebook giving this long explanation of I had this gi. It got lost somewhere. You might have it.
That's actually the smart move to go to the wife first.
Oh, dude. Well, I guess he didn't have a Facebook anymore. So I was like, fuck, how am I going to get a hold of him?
She's going to know where it's at.
Right. I figured, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I sent the message. I get a message back, and he's like, "I've never seen this gi." And I'm like, that was the only lead I had on it. Fuck. So I don't have any of my original gis. If they're out there,
I'll
one
check
day
for you, dog. I got you.
I'm one of those people. I'm like a collector, you know. Like I like to hold on to certain sentimental things. I still got old shirts from Shingu, like when we first started.
I do too.
Yeah.
That gray one.
So I lost my gray one. I had a white one for a long time. I have a sleeveless one, and I have a black one. Yeah.
Oh man.
So
back in the day.
Yeah. But so getting into that, and then so when you moved to Roseville, you were going to school out there, right?
Yeah, I went to Sierra College.
Yeah.
And then I was going to school, and I was working as a janitor at the time.
Yeah.
And then still training, competing, doing all that. I went from like janitor to office assistant to business manager at that school.
Yeah.
Went that whole way, was doing jiu-jitsu and traveling and competing that whole time.
Were you mainly in the gi at that time, or?
I was mixing up between gi and no gi.
Yeah.
I was never the best competitor. I'm gonna be very, very frank with that. But also like looking at the, some of the coaching stuff like that, I'm like, I can kind of see some of the things I was missing back then that I have now, which is good. But overall, I was like, trying to compete, do all that. That was always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes like people have a mind for it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they may not have the competitive, like, there's something different when people are like super competitive and they're constantly, trying to compete every weekend. And then there's some people that just, it's not for them.
Yeah. I felt like I had to learn how to compete.
Right.
And
it is.
It finally clicked, like right before I got my purple belt, it like clicked. And then I started really enjoying competing after that point.
That's why I like the kids competing, at the young ages. That's the best because they learn it at such a young age, and then by the time they hit our age, and they're in their 19, 20 years old, they're experienced competitors at that point. They know how to turn it on. They know how to turn it off. They know how to get over the nerves.
Yep. My nephew, Koa, he's 7. I'm pretty sure you have 7. Like, oof, sorry, he's 7. But he actually just had his first tournament with submissions. And it was like a little in-house tournament. He trains at 10th Planet Walnut Creek.
Okay.
And it was really cool because I've seen all these tournaments where it's all position. Now he's doing this tournament and then finally has subs. But it was really cool to kind of see like, okay, I want to see how he looks and the emotions that are going to come out as someone's trying to choke him. And it happened. Yeah. And I could just kind of see it. I was like, oh, poor guy.
He's feeling it.
He was feeling it. But what was cool about it, like they had 3 minutes. And if they got the tap, they would have them restart and then keep going. Yeah. And I like that because they had a chance to collect themselves and kind of feel what was going on, but then get a chance to restart. Right. And I was like, this is going to be so good for him. Yeah. So just being able to start that early, like I was like, I wish I would have had that. Yeah. Super early. I think the age-old phrase with jiu-jitsu, as soon as you start it and you're in it for a while, like, man, I wish I would have started. No matter where you start. You start at 30, you wish you were doing it at 20. For 20, you wish you did it at in your teens.
It's like the Rotolo brothers, man. We talk about it all the time with those guys. They start at a young age. They competed in high-level tournaments.
Remember watching them at Yellow Belt?
Oh, man. Bruh. It seems like not that long ago.
Exactly.
But yeah, and then nowadays, they're doing the MMA thing. And I mean, man, I was talking about his fight last night. It was just so impressive. Like, he is a competitor in every sense of the word.
CJI.
Yeah.
Man.
Unstoppable.
Such a great style, too.
Yeah.
Such a great style of jiu-jitsu for no matter what style that comes to him, he has a game for it, no matter what.
So going over your journey still, you're in Roseville, right? You're doing a little bit of, competitions here and there, getting used to competing. Mm-hmm. What's next for you? You said in Walnut Creek. How do you end up there?
So with Walnut Creek, so I ended up there because I was working at the school. I just wanted to do something different. So I decided to move up to the Bay Area, moved in with my sister, looked for a job out there. And then I started training at 10th Planet Walnut Creek. So I've been training gi this whole time. And then I'll go into like a gi dedicated school. Full no gi dedicated school. Yeah. And the most interesting part was like I had no leg game. And this is like when EBI was just starting. Oh yeah. To like get big, and Gary Tonin and Eddie Cummings were dominating the scene with the heel hooks. Like this one was just starting, and I'm getting over there, and I'm just over there getting heel hooked. And like my girlfriend's greatest achievement, no, it's not her greatest achievement, at least with me, is submitting me like 4 times when she first met me with heel hooks when she was like a white belt. And I was like, I had no leg defense, man. Like we didn't train heel hooks and all that. Like we did ankle locks back then, but like nobody really did heel hooks. Like I had my friend Scott Chapman. He's the one who showed me, what a heel hook was and like how to get there and stuff like that. But it was such a nuanced thing back then that it didn't blow up till like way later. And then after training with 10 Planet Walnut Creek, I developed a really good defense to leg locks, and like I could do them. But it was like I'm like happy that I have like the awareness to like, okay, don't put my hips there.
Yeah.
Watch where my feet need to go. Watch what they're doing.
It's definitely a different style to add into your repertoire, you know?
Yeah,
like,
especially if you come from that old school jiu-jitsu style.
Right.
That old school jiu-jitsu style, we didn't fuck with the legs.
No.
We didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Like, remember hearing all the old school stories.
Top pressure,
about,
you know? Like,
all top
if you were going
pressure.
legs, you couldn't pass guard is what the whole thing
Exactly.
was back
That was-
then.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but then over here we got Dean Listener at ADCC over here
Yeah.
wrecking everybody. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. I've, you know, in the early days, I remember I loved the leg lock game. Like, I was big fans of like Dave Terrell, Dean Lister, even Ken Shamrock. Like, dude,
Yeah.
like, he had a good ankle lock, man.
Yup.
And cranked that motherfucker. So, like, you know, it was always a cool game. Like, but it was much harder to learn at that time. Like,
Yeah.
not many people showed it, and
There were no
if they
DVDs.
showed it, they didn't like want to show it to you because like it was dangerous. You know, they thought you were gonna be heel hooking the fuck out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And there was I would say, was it not Budo videos? What's his name? Stuart Cooper. Like those are probably the best highlight videos you could watch back in the day to see people do heel hooks because there were no videos, there was no tapes, there was no YouTube to watch how to do heel hooks back then.
no, not at all.
Yeah, if you did, you had to like find like some DVD somebody bought somewhere.
Book,
Yeah, or a
somewhere,
book.
yeah.
Yeah, like
And even then, like the books were real limited on like the leg lock game.
Yeah.
Like you didn't see many of them.
I would say the best book probably back then was like Eddie Bravo's book.
Yeah, Mastering the Rubber Guard.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been brought up on the podcast several times now. But yeah, Mastering the
Yeah.
Rubber Guard. Everyone had that book back then.
Yeah,
you
everybody
know?
had that book, and I feel like everybody was able to learn from that book more than others because that's like you said, like
Yeah.
it comes up all the time.
Oh yeah.
I know, like with Candors, like that's how he got into like 10th Planet was like he had a Mastering the Rubber Guard and started working it back then.
Yeah. And even a good buddy of mine, Tim Freeman, I tell the story back when I first started, they were a little bit ahead of us in years in jiu-jitsu, and they had the book, and I remember them talking about it all the time and going over it, and I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about, this Eddie Bravo guy? And then, you know, back in the day, he used to do UFC scorecards in the middle of the rounds.
Oh,
or like
yeah,
a
that's
breakdown.
right. Yeah.
And he pops on there and they're like, Eddie Bravo. And I'm like, oh, that's the motherfucker. Okay. And so I kind of it was much harder to put it together back then. There wasn't just a Eddie Bravo website that, you know, was so accessible, you know?
But then you go to YouTube and then you see Jiu-Jitsu black belt gets put to sleep by Visitor, and it's him and Hanato.
Yeah. Dude, there's been so many people like that. That video made everyone go nuts for years.
I'll never forget that video. I'd be like, oh shit, that was fake.
Yeah, fake as fuck, man.
But it was so real back
Oh,
then.
he's so good at that, man.
So
like,
good.
So good at that, like character, you know.
Oh.
Joe Hogan.
Yeah.
Like, you smoke weed, Joe Hogan. Like, I love that guy, man. He was awesome. And then I don't know, the Weidman one. That one was a good one too that he did.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of people were like, that one's real, and I was like, I don't know, man. He's known for doing this fake one.
He is
so.
known for, get those views, man.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want him always saying that kind of shit's real, but.
And he's known for playing possum. He's talked about it. Like he
Yeah.
played possum. Like I learned to play possum from him. That shit works. Just get a little weak when they're trying to choke you, then maybe they'll switch. Like,
Yeah. So going back to your journey, right? I just want to get to where we're at now. So you're at 10th Planet Walnut Creek. You start to learn the no-gi game in jiu-jitsu, right? You start to really add that 10th Planet system into your game a little bit and start to understand it at least. How do you end up at Precision?
So the reason why I ended up with Precision was because COVID happened, and me and my girlfriend were, trying to decide what we wanted to do. If we wanted to stay in the Bay, I personally wanted to go back to Roseville because I had so many people I built like a really deep relationship with from when I was like, just like you, been friends with since like 17, 18. Here I am, and like, at 20, 29, at the time being like, I kind of want to go back over there, be with that community.
It's hard to make friends when you get older, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like a thing too, it's like you grow up in the Central Valley, you grow up in Stockton, you go to Roseville, and I was, in those areas up until I was like 26, and then I'm going to go to the Bay Area. And as much as you want to think it's the same culture, it's not.
Yeah.
Like I had to go through culture shocks and learn different things. So I was like, I want to go back to Roseville. So we wound up moving in December 2020. I bought a townhouse out there. And then I found out my friend Austin Flowers, who's also a black belt out of Precision. And we trained over at Infinite together. We got our white through purple belts together over there. Found out he was over at Precision, and he's always been like he's my white whale.
Yeah.
I hate him. He's my best friend. I fucking hate him because his game is so frustrating.
Yeah.
He has very solid basics, but I call him Gumby because his dexterity, his leg dexterity, how he uses angles is just so annoying. He's an amazing grappler.
Yeah.
I love him. Amazing grappler. Fucking hate him. But he's my white whale. So I'm like, okay, if that's where he's at, I was like, I need to go train with Austin.
Yeah.
And then also my friend Scott was over there as well. So it's like, where Scott's at, I'm at too. Because Scott helped me a lot from like blue to purple belt because I would go to his morning classes and train with him over at Infinite. So when they were there, I was like, I'm going to go there. And been there ever since now.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a well-respected academy in the area. If you're from Northern California, everyone knows Precision. You guys had some pretty big success, especially the last ADCC and having that young lady from your guys' academy compete
Liz,
on that.
I don't want to butcher your last name, Liz. I'm so sorry. Mitrovich. I hope I said it correctly. But yeah, Liz, love training with her. Yeah. She's one of the nicest people in the world, bro. Like one of the sweetest, nicest people. But like when she competes and when she's getting ready to compete, it's like it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I know that.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah, that's her walkout song usually.
Yeah.
Is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and it's amazing just to kind of see that and to kind of see her go from like just starting to win to be just becoming so dominant.
Yeah.
Like she's done such a great job.
Yeah, I saw recently she did a seminar at the 10th Planet Stockton School for like domestic violence and stuff. So that's an awesome thing to do, kind of give back a little bit and just be a part of that. But you guys have a really well-respected academy. I don't personally know Master Chad, or I've seen his Instagram, Master Chad Kung Fu. I've seen
Kung Fu for life.
Yeah, I've seen
Let
the
it break.
picture. But talk to me a little bit about the standard at Precision. It's obviously you guys got a lot of black belts. You guys got a lot of good vibes going on there. It seems like you guys are doing everything right at this point. Talk to me about how it is and how the environment is training there.
Dude, the environment's great. I love training there. Being part of so many gyms, you can just see like what works. And I would say the best part is just like the vibe is just like if you can't train or if you don't have time to train or you get off work too late, you can't roll, you still want to go there and hang out. Like you can still go over there and hang out. Yeah. I've done that where it's like, okay, it's too late, but I'll just go hang out. On the side of the mat, just chilling. To have that where you get done rolling, like, okay, let's crack a beer. Yeah. Let's kind of just chill. Like, it's like, and then if you have your serious students, you always are going to have your competitive group. You're always going to have your hobbyist group. And it's just such a beautiful balance there. Yeah. Where it's like, you can go train with the high level competitors, even if you don't want to train or compete at a high level. Like you get that blend of both worlds. I just personally like it there just because of the vibe, man. Chad's such a cool dude.
Yeah. You guys have a great culture from what I understand. Like your culture is where it all is, and Master Chad seems like he's doing something right. You guys got a full gym of, some killers out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, I would say, like the quality of teaching as well from Chad. Like the details he shows just with the techniques, or if like you have trouble during a roll and you go over to him and you're like, hey, I'm having trouble with this. He'll start showing you things. He'll give you everything that you need if you ask. Yeah. Like it's a wonderful thing because he's super approachable. That's like I feel like the number one thing is like, especially like you're a coach, like you need to be approachable. Yeah, you need to feel like your students can go up to you at any time, and be like, hey man, I'm having a lot of trouble with this. Like what the hell can I do? And I do that with him. Like, hey, I'm having trouble with this, and then I go over to it, and it's specifically for my friend Halen. And Halen be over there like, what are you doing? I'm like, I hate passing your half guard because you're frustrating. I'm asking Chad what to do. Like,
yeah. Like, I'm getting the answers to the test.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm asking
and
the
like
teacher.
The awesome thing about that is like he's just so open about that. And that's like the same thing like with Sarah as well. Like you have Sarah McMahon there. Yeah. And she runs a wrestling class, and it's like you have that access to knowledge right there with like a lifelong wrestler and now, coach.
Well, and seeing her success with the young lady in the Olympics.
Amit. Yes, bro.
Like, I mean, she credited, her, a lot of her success to Sarah McMahon, with that. So, like, you obviously know, her career, her accolades speak for themselves. She has a really high level of wrestling and competitive, drive in her. So,
and they're just such chill people too. That's what I would say. Like the number one thing, like if you follow them on Instagram, you're gonna see when they're together, they're in the outdoors, they're with their kids, like they're very family oriented.
Oh yeah,
and it's just so chill. It's so nice. And no drama.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have like
politics.
a good like bonding with your guys' team. Like you guys do a lot of like team bonding things, and I saw like not that long ago like the women had like a barbecue together, and you guys are doing things like that. That's important for an academy. You look at this, it's almost like a church or a cult in a way, man.
It is a cult.
Everyone's got to meet up and do the rituals together. No. But
it's true.
It's important to have the bonding, right? Yeah. You got to have that camaraderie, and that's going to make them become, ambassadors for your academy. They're going to want to recruit their friends. Hey, you got to meet my friends at jiu-jitsu. They're awesome people. You're going to love hanging out with them.
I think that's the big thing too. Is like between Sarah, Liz, and Kelsey, between the three of them, like that triangle, they create such a great environment for women that we have a huge women's team.
Yeah.
Like when you see those pictures, like the barbecue or them going out and them doing things, like I know like they all did tattoos, and you see this group of ladies together, it's like that's such a good sign for a school.
Oh yeah.
Is when you see that, like
that's bonding right there. That's
there's not a lot of fuckery going around and people being assholes over here. It's like women can come here and train and they're gonna focus on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's such a good sign.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, such a good sign.
Well, and you can see with your guys' numbers and everything. Like there's definitely a lot of women in that program.
Oh yeah, man, and they're all fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like then you have like my girlfriend, Caitlin Shaw. She, coming up, her coming up.
She's a fierce competitor,
bro. So like,
I've seen her in Arte Suave.
Like,
she throws down.
Dude, she's like somebody where it's like she was like the only girl in her jiu-jitsu class coming up. So it's like she don't roll like a typical. You have to treat Katie like a dude. Like I roll her all the time. Nah, I'm treating her like I do everybody else. I'm trying to put the pressure on. Like no, because she's trying to take my heel out. She's trying to take my arm out. Like. And it's so fun, especially be with somebody like in jiu-jitsu where we get to actually exchange and do things and have fun with it.
Being a jiu-jitsu couple, like, I mean, do you guys like just totally embrace jiu-jitsu like at home as well? You know what? Like when it's a CJI ADCC weekend, like, are you guys just like,
oh, dude,
Cloud 9?
She was supposed to. So the last ADCC, I actually went. She was supposed to go, but she had she was actually starting school. Oops, my bad.
You're good.
Yeah, she was starting school. So she unfortunately couldn't go, but we went to the last ADCC. So yeah, she's very into it. We watch it all the time. It's funny. We don't like do a bunch of jiu-jitsu at home. It's more so just like we'll watch it, but we always train together.
Yeah.
If we're at the school, we're always partners. Like we always have a good time.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely a big bonding point for us because that's how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, your whole foundation is jiu-jitsu.
It literally is.
So. That's awesome though, and to have that, like, that's it gives you more time to train. You don't have someone at home
that, and just understanding what it means to like go train.
Oh yeah.
And then even though it's like from 6:30 to 8, understanding that I don't need to like bum rush home.
Right.
If she's home, like I get to stay there. She knows I'm gonna shoot the shit with the guys. We're gonna sit there and talk till like 9:30, 10 o'clock sometimes. That's just how it is.
That's you're always
like,
BSing.
Yeah, because like when we were at 10th Planet Walnut Creek, class was from 7:30 to 9:30. Yeah, it was a late class. So I would coming from commuting from the city, get there by 7:30, there till 9:30, and then we're chilling after class, and now it's 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting home and I got to make dinner and then go commute back.
Yeah.
And that was 3-4 days a week.
Yeah. But that's good though that you guys can, do that as a family and, go out together and enjoy the finer things with jiu-jitsu.
Yes, exactly. Vacation is jiu-jitsu stuff.
Right. You're going to jiu-jitsu con and the fun stuff like that. Do you follow much of the competitive grappling scene in the like PGF and stuff like that?
PGF, I'm starting to. I don't know too many names in PGF, but I've been watching it specifically because I actually had a teammate of mine, Jamie Carnell.
Yeah.
He was part of the last, not the current show that's going on, the last show. He was on
Yeah.
that last one.
Yeah, there's a lot of 10th Planet people too. Like it's a really interesting. What makes the whole thing about PGF so unique is like the whole kill and the point structure based on the submission or based on going to the judges or whatever it is. So that's what I think makes it interesting and makes it good. Also the vibes too. Like you look around the mats and you got all these celebrities with sofas and little cocktails in their hands and.
Andy Varela and PJ Bars trying to throw each other over a sofa.
Yeah, dude, I like those vibes. I think they're doing something cool.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of good grappling out there with UFC Fight Pass, and I mean a lot of good stuff.
Fight Pass Invitational. Yeah, that one's awesome.
Did you happen to catch the Nicky Rod Michael Pixley match?
I did.
Yeah,
it went exactly as I expected.
Now, I want to hear your opinion on this, Kay. Do you feel like Michael Pixley got frustrated with the way they were calling those stalling?
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I thought it was a little much, especially in a main event jiu-jitsu match with two wrestlers to call stallings right off the bat. Like,
I felt like Craig Jones Kynan.
Yeah, it was frustrating.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating. So, it was just, I don't know if it would have changed the outcome of the match, but definitely I think it got in Pixley's head being a younger competitor.
And, and what it means to be active in that sense, especially for jiu-jitsu.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
And then also that you're going against Nicky Rod, man.
Yeah.
You better be more active.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, they just have different styles, right?
Yeah.
They never matched up together, so there's going to be some sort of a filling out process.
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
But yeah. So speaking of competitive jiu-jitsu, you're also involved in the Arte Suave organization. One of my favorite ones to go to. One of my favorite ones to cover. I like what they're doing in the super fight scene and. You guys are putting on some badass shows. Man, whoever's in charge is doing it right because they're getting better and better and better each time.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's especially this last show. Jamil Hill Taylor. Shit, I'm pretty sure I said it right. Yeah, Jamil Hill Taylor versus Manny. That was a hell of a match, man.
Yeah,
that was.
I heard that one was good.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't get to catch the card yet, but
I was commentating and judging that match, and that was a nail biter.
Yeah.
That was a nail biter. There was Jamil went for a Bravo choke super early. Thought it was deep. It was deep. Manny got out of it.
Wow.
They wound up going into some exchanges back and forth. Jamil was up on the cards. Wound up going for an ankle lock on Manny, and then Manny just wound up countering that with a heel hook. And
yeah. He's got that fucking leg lock game, dude.
Yeah, like, man.
He's really Manny Moreno. He's real strong with that leg lock.
Oh
game,
man,
dude.
Manny's tricky, bro. Like,
and he's got like the perfect body for it, dude. When he catches onto a leg, you ain't getting that motherfucker off.
Yeah, and I know Jamil had that foot.
Yeah,
Jamil had that foot, but the counter was there, and like you can. I feel like I've seen it so many times. Like you can get that ankle lock, but if somebody can get that heel, that heel hook's going to tap first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that heel hook is nasty, man.
Yeah, it was nasty.
So break it down for me, right? A lot of people have heard of Arte Suave, at least who listen to the podcast, hopefully. But break down how the scoring works for that.
Oh yeah.
I know they kind of go over it with the competitors. They send out the emails breaking it down for you, but kind of break it down from a judge's standpoint.
Yeah. So from a judge's standpoint, the way they judge things is if you get to mount or back, that's 2 points. If you get a shallow submission, meaning like per se, I go for an ankle lock and then it's tight, but then he's able to slip out quickly. It's shallow attempt. Go for a triangle. It looks like you're able to lock it up. They're able to pop out. That's a shallow. And then there's deep submissions. Deep submissions you can look at as like an extremely big reaction. So I'm getting armbarred, and I got to hitchhike her out like a motherfucker, else I'm gonna get done. Now, that one. That's a deep submission. Deep submission for the Kimura is, your hands past your hip line going up towards your shoulder blade. That's a deep. Ankle lock is we're watching your face. You can have a good poker face, but you know when it's a good ankle lock and when that bends in the ankle. So that's how we kind of judge that spread. And then everything else between sweeps, reversals, guard passes, we judge those as tiebreaker points. So in the event that there is no mount, there is no back, there is, no shallow submissions, there's no deep submissions. Now we're going to judge it based off of your takedowns, your sweeps, guard passing at that point. So yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown of the rules.
How many judges are there with Arte Suave?
Use 3.
3?
Yep.
Okay.
3 judges.
Do you guys typically agree on most of them, or are they? Is there one guy that's always split or something like that?
That's the thing too. Is there was a point where we didn't discuss, and then we would have some different judging, but then we have now got to a point where there is discretion, where it's like we get to argue.
Yeah.
And we
you guys get to have it out for a few minutes before they announce it.
Definitely, yeah. So like we'll sit there and we'll debate, and I brought up points, other people have brought up points, and we've had to come to an agreement. And I feel like once you watch jiu-jitsu enough, like you know what is what. Mm-hmm. Yeah, big time.
Do you have like a scorecard you go off of, like
yes.
to keep track of all those different things?
Definitely, yep. Yeah. And then part of like when we're keeping scores, like whatever point we're marking, we're also noting down kind of like shorthand, like what is it that they specifically get. So if you get mount, I'm putting a strike down with an M over it. If you get back, it's a strike down with a B. You get a deep submission armbar, I'm typing AB, on the top of the scorecard. So, we're always keeping track of specifically what it is.
Yeah.
Because there's been times where I've had to argue with coaches. Even like I've had to argue with some high level people, man, debate with some people. And it was very evident that they didn't read the rules.
Yeah.
They thought this was IBJJF. And I was like, nah, man, you dude got no submission attempts. He was in an extremely deep submission, and all he did was try to pass guard and take him down. Well, his opponent got a deep submission, so your tiebreaker points don't matter. Yeah. And that's what some people don't really understand. It's like the tiebreaker points are in the event there's no mount, there's no back, there's no submissions. So then we don't have to judge that.
Right. So if it's like a wrestling match or something along those lines.
Yeah, and we've all seen
very
those.
Few.
Yep.
The one I think of is like Carlos Cruz and Will Alexander. That one was probably a tough one to judge. I don't know if you were at that one, but
I don't remember that.
It was a back and forth battle. They're both very explosive guys. It probably came down to a guard pass if you're really breaking it down on the judges' scorecards.
And that's the thing. At the end of the day, everybody think they won.
Yeah, and you should, right? You should. You're out there. You gotta pull the old Nate Diaz. Yeah, I kicked your ass no matter what. Right?
That's hella true.
Yeah, I won all my fights.
Sean O'Malley.
Yeah. So, do you have any intentions on doing any like competitions, any tournaments, super fights, or anything like that on the horizon?
So I was originally planned to do the Arte Suave card that was this past November 2nd. But Chad decided to give me my black belt. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to
change everything.
I'm not
black belt debut. That's a big
I'm
one.
not going to have my black belt debut like a month after I got promoted. Like, I'm just sorry, I'm not doing that. So talked to Fredo. I told him at some point early next year, I'm going to do an Arte Suave match. Yeah. Definitely want to get back into it. Kind of just see where I'm at, feel it out. Know I need to do some more work, as well. Yeah. We know how this game is.
It's a constant thing you're improving on, right?
And then it's also just like, as we know, like we always said, there's levels to the game. Right. And it's just understanding, okay, where am I at in the pecking order of having a black belt now? Right. And where do I need to get to? Right.
You got to be specific about the matches you take, too, at black belt, right? Yeah. You don't want to just go and get mollywopped by somebody that's been a black belt for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want to go against like an 8-10 year black belt. Yeah. Like that would suck. Like I talked to Fredo, I was like, please just give me somebody that's been a black belt just as long as me, if maybe a little longer. Yeah. But let's get something within the same amount of time.
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. But it's really cool. I love that organization. It's one of my favorites, like I said, to go to. I love the ambiance of the event. I love what they're doing. Like the shows, like I said, my only complaint about the one show in Stockton was it was too dark, and I'm getting old and I can't see shit in the dark.
Was that the neon show?
Yeah, the neon
show. Yeah,
it was a little too dark for me. But,
I do remember that one.
But it was badass. I did have a good time, and they're always it's always a good event. The vibes are always good.
Fredo's doing a good thing with that show, man. He's doing a really good thing. I'm very close with Fredo. He's one of my very good friends. seeing the choices he's made to, make the event elevated, make the ambiance better with the lights, the music, and everything. Like it's very good.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him here in the near future, Alfredo, if you're listening.
Yeah, Fredo.
So you got to come on Grapplers Talk. But yeah, I definitely like to talk to him and kind of pick his brain on that stuff because it's a great organization. You see, at least when I was younger, you've seen a lot of MMA organizations pop up and go away, and at least with the jiu-jitsu, they're at least a little bit more stable. You're not seeing as many go away so quickly.
And that was like when Fight to Win first started. I remember Seth Daniels. There was like an interview, or there was an article about an interview he did, but he talked about how like compared to MMA guys, jiu-jitsu guys, like they're always ready majority of the time. But when you give them enough time, they're always ready.
Yeah, and I mean, you even think about it, like back in the day, right? I had a buddy and he was hosting MMA fights, and so oftentimes people would pull out last minute, right? And they got a hole in the card. So he was either searching the audience or calling people like me drunk at a party to come fight an MMA fight, which I did. It happens,
Hey man, got a cowboy cerrone sometimes. This is how it is, bro.
Right. But no, but it's much easier to find jiu-jitsu guys in a crowd, right?
Yes.
Like that are ready to go, that are not injured, that are healthy, ready to go. And
I've seen Manny take a fight at like 190 something, bro.
It seems like, if that were to happen in Arte Suave, it seems like they got a lot of people ready to go. Like Anthony, he does a lot of matches.
Yeah, Anthony Mercado, our we call him our Make-A-Wish kid.
He's a character, man. That guy cracks me up.
I love him, man.
You got to have that kind of personality around the organization. He's something else.
Oh, man. Dude, we have fun. Like when we go to San Diego, we go to the LA shows. We're all together. It's such a good time.
Yeah,
it's such a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet, dude. Like, I mean, really, like you look at it in perspective. Like you got a bunch of guys that love jiu-jitsu traveling around, putting on jiu-jitsu events.
Exactly.
It's probably a pretty fun time.
Oh, dude, it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun. Because like at least like for somebody like me, like I don't travel a lot. I don't go here and then. Like if I do travel, it's because it's for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I get to spend time watching jiu-jitsu, learning from it too, and seeing like what people are doing. I've found some amazing moves just watching people compete and judging for a while now. It's been so much fun.
And it's crazy because it's like these blue belts doing amazing shit out there, dude. You're like, whoa,
it's
man,
the
where
kids,
the fuck
man.
did I learn that?
It's the kids, bro. You see these kids rolling like black belts, doing De La Hiva to Matrix, crab riding, going up like, man, it's amazing.
It's wild.
Yeah.
These kids nowadays, they literally have everything in their advantage. They got YouTube. They got, schools on every corner now.
Yes.
And there's good kids programs around like to train at, right? Which when we first started, none of those things were around. There wasn't as many gyms. There wasn't any kids programs. Like,
think about how rare it was to see a black belt.
Yeah.
Like,
there wasn't many in the area.
Shingu was a brown belt when I first started, and he got his black belt from, was it Kyle?
Kyle,
from Kyle. And 2010?
2009.
2009. Yeah, that's right. That's right, because he would go drive to, that's back when Kyle was in Pleasanton.
Yeah.
He
was driving to the Bay Area doing like 3-hour private lessons with them.
Yeah. And then coming back, and then, oh, man.
Yeah, that was a crazy time, dude. Like, I remember my shoulder was fucked up at that time, so I wasn't actively training. I would pop in from time to time. I remember one time I popped in, I dislocated my shoulder.
I think I was there.
I think you were there, actually. And then another time I popped in again, and I trained for a couple weeks and dislocated my shoulder again.
Oh.
Like, it was just nonstop at that time.
I mean, at that gym, I thought we were rolling light.
Yeah, no one. But so recently you were promoted to black belt. We kind of were going over just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Talk about that moment, right? That's kind of the defining moment we look at in our jiu-jitsu careers, even though it's not the only defining moment, right? But it's a huge one. If you've been training as long as we have, it's something you think about. It's something you look forward to one day, right?
Yep.
And even if you say you don't, in the back of your head, you're thinking one day I might get to wear that black belt with the red stripe on it. So talk to me about that moment, how it felt for you, having your family there. Give me the whole breakdown.
Yeah, that was it was kind of a trip because I was kind of oblivious to like what was going on because I had a bunch of friends that I've trained with that were training that night. My boy Barber John was there. He's been cutting my hair since I was 18 years old. I met him during jiu-jitsu. He had his first class. And I was
In Roseville?
In Roseville.
I know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lil
yeah.
John's?
Yeah.
He's cut my hair before. He's
Oh,
a purple
shit.
belt, right?
No, he's brown belt now.
Okay, brown belt.
Yeah, he's a brown belt. He's over at Casio's.
Back in the day, he was a purple belt, and I had my purple belt at the same time, and I went in for a haircut, and we were talking jiu-jitsu for like 30 minutes before he cut my hair.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, John. Hey, bro. John is
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's one of my close friends, bro. I love John so much. But yeah, he was there. My friend Stacy Councilman was there. Who else?
Stacy from Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
Yep. I've trained with Stacy as well.
Yeah.
Like as long as over at Infinite, we were all at Infinite together.
Okay.
So there was a bunch of people from Infinite, and there's been nights, or it's like it should have been obvious because all these people were there. But I was like, there's been other nights where it's been like other people have shown up to train, and they was all from Infinite. I was like, oh, we all just showed up on the same day. It was just the night that converged that, people were coming. I was like totally oblivious to it. And then it was funny because that night was a very hard night of training. I had a very rough night.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You felt it.
I'd look at my partner spread that night and who I rolled with, and I was like, oh, that was a very tough lineup.
Yeah.
Because ever since I was getting ready to compete, I was like, okay, it's going to be just like the competitive purple belts and then brown and black. Then I'm just going to compete with. Just make sure it's just super high level. And I got my ass whipped that whole night, bro. Like, it was just not my night. And I remember early in the week, I was doing fucking great. And that night, I was like, oh, this is not my night. I just was not doing good. And then I'm just sitting there. It's the end of class. And then Chad said he's going to promote somebody, pulls out a black belt. And, for me personally, I'm like, it ain't me. I'm never in the sense of like feeling like entitled to thinking that.
Yeah.
Because Gustavo, I remember when I was a white belt, Gustavo was like, never chase the belt.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of embodied that, whereas like I don't really, not that I don't care about the belt. It's just like I don't want that to be what jiu-jitsu is for me. Like for me, what jiu-jitsu is just having decent grappling where no matter what style comes in front of me, I at least have an answer for it. And that's it, nothing more. And that is something that can always get worked on. It's not like oh, I got my black belt and I got it. It's like, no, like I'm never going to have that grappling all figured out. It's always going to be something different. Because as I get older, the younger guys are going to be harder to handle. So now I need to figure out how to pin them better and sweep them. So it's like this always this thing, just never chasing it. So then when he called me up, I was like, shit. Because like the week before we were out in the back chilling. I was like, hey man, give me 3 more years, dog.
Yeah.
I've been a brown belt for I think like 2-3 years, something like that. And I was like, give me 3 more, Chad.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not up to me. I'm like, it's all up to you. What are you talking about? Like, like you're lying. Like, no, it's all up to you. Like, give me 3 more, man. I was like, I was a purple belt for a long time. I've been a brown belt for a long time. It's okay. And he was like, not up to me. I was like, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. And then he promoted me. I was like, fuck. And then when the class was over, it's like there was nobody there. And then as he announced my name, I see my mom come out, my dad come out, my sister, my nephew, who also does jiu-jitsu, Harold Schaefer, Chin, Ian. God, there were so many people. I hope I didn't forget anybody. If I did, I'm very sorry. But it was like all my friends that I trained with, like all showed up, and it was super. I did cry.
Yeah,
I did cry.
It
was overwhelming. Like all of a sudden, like because for me personally, like the number one thing I've always wanted in my life is to have my specifically my dad see me get my black belt. I've always wanted to make sure that that's something that I achieved in my life. Is making sure my dad got to see me get my black belt and see that I achieved
important.
That.
You went from start to, you went through it. You never quit.
Yeah,
that's,
exactly.
That's what it shows.
Yeah, and I just really wanted him to like see that. And the fact that he was there, my mom was there, my sister, I was like, made me super happy. And that's why I was like overwhelmed with some emotion, started crying.
Yeah. Did they make you talk like right after you saw them all too?
Yeah, bro.
Like,
that's why I was crying in the speech, bro.
Give me a few minutes, motherfucker. Come on, Master Chad.
Because like I got the belt, they tied it, and then like I go through the line, shake all the black belts' hands, and everybody's like, speech.
Do you guys do a gauntlet?
No. So
gauntlet.
Chad says that once you get to black belt, no gauntlet. You've earned your keep.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right.
I respect that. I like it.
I wanted it, but I'm like, I get it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I was at a black belt gauntlet not too long ago.
Yeah.
It was violent. violent.
Oh, people would have fucked me.
Oh, we had like a group in this end of the gauntlet line, dude, and it was a very violent group of people.
Good wind-ups,
like,
huh?
oh my god,
They know how to whip the belt.
we get 3 whips on a pass, dude. You know? So, and they left marks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. I like it.
Good old
It's
days.
my favorite
man.
part.
I know, dude. Same. Yeah, same for me too. I was like, I wanted that. I was like, nah, man. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
But so you got to speak right after you went through the lineup and
Yep.
and got to thank everyone. That's awesome, man. Like
Yeah.
seeing you too, like that's a proud moment for me. Like when I saw that you got your black belt on Instagram, and I think your girl posted about it, and I was just like, that's fucking awesome. Because I literally remember at the school in the staff lounge, you coming up to me and asking me for a gi. And like, dude, that moment, like, I was like,
Birthday
you
package,
better
probably.
fucking stay with it. Like, I remember the whole conversation. Like,
That's
dude,
so funny.
it means a lot, dude. Like, that's fucking badass. And you know, it's awesome to see, man. Like, you've grown and matured with jiu-jitsu. Like,
Big time.
you know, we were talking off air about areas in our life where we were at and how jiu-jitsu has helped us overcome. And you know, it's very special thing. Like it really is cultish, you know, like to a sense of the word. But yeah, it's a very cultish thing. And you know, but it's special, you know. Once you find jiu-jitsu, it's like you found your peace.
I think is a big thing. Part of it is like the camaraderie, the friendships you make, the connections you make with people, because it's, you know, how can I say, the cliche thing that like Henzo says, like you have these people from all walks of life coming over. It doesn't matter what you do at work or where you're at or who you are at your job or how many kids you have or what religion you are. Like it don't matter. Like you either know how to get out of side control or you fucking don't. You either know how to know defend an arm bar or you don't. Nothing else matters outside of that room. And it's just a nice even respect. And that to me is just, that's such a huge part. And it's definitely missing for men. Big time. I think that's probably why I connect with like a lot of dudes where it's like there's not many things I could think of that it's like outside jiu-jitsu that has a type of camaraderie that like we have.
Oh yeah. I don't know much like it, you know.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of anything that you could do.
You could play sports, yeah, that's cool. But there's no type of trust like when somebody has their arm wrapped around your neck and then when you tap, your trust they're gonna let go and not have a freak out day.
Like a 45-year-old lady isn't gonna go play tackle football with you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
exactly,
saying? But
yeah.
she could go choke you the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so
we have a dude, man. I call him Young Man Rich, bro. He's fucking 75.
yeah.
Yeah, and he started training. I think when he was like, I think 70 or 69. I'm not sure, but it was like, hey, he's an older dude.
Yeah.
And he still shows up. He still trains, and he's 75 years old. Don't matter.
Yeah. Strive Academy has old man Dan, and he's in his 70s as well. Dude.
Yeah.
Really strong competitor. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He's won world championships at his age.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, it's just badass.
Yeah.
Man.
It keeps you going, man.
Yeah.
Got to slay those dragons.
You do, man. And like, it's crazy because you really see all walks of life. Like if you're ever at an IBJJF or even a Jiu-Jitsu World League or anything like that, and you're on those, mats down there and you see all the competitors and dude, it's every walk of life. You got motherfuckers that are like shredded and like in hella good shape, young and athletic. And then you got guys that look like they just rolled off the couch.
Yep.
And they got their glasses and their bald head, you know, and they're tying their white belt with 2 stripes on it, you know. It's badass though.
They've
Like
been
they're
grappling
still
on and off for like 12 years.
and then you see them do it and they're pretty fucking good too. Like, you know what I mean? So, and then you see, I don't know if you've seen that lady out there on Instagram. I think they call her the grappling granny. She's
Oh, yeah, I've
Gracie
seen her.
Baja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember her,
She's
yeah.
an older lady and she's out there whooping ass.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Like-
Yeah. It's like, once you know technique, you're like, you know how to defend that shit.
All walks of life. And then you see the little girl who, like, you know, she looks like she's like one of the quietest girls in school, you know, probably doesn't talk to many people, and she'll go out there and fucking bust out a flying triangle and fucking tap somebody. Like it's just badass, man. Like anybody could do jiu-jitsu. It's for everybody.
Oh, it definitely is.
But man, Randy, so we have a game we like to play on the show. We call it overrated or underappreciated. I've been asking Chat GPT because it comes up with some good ones sometimes.
Hey, Chat GPT can be coming through.
Yeah. So we're going to go through, they gave me a bunch of different people, but we're only going to go through a few of them. Overrated or underappreciated jiu-jitsu athletes. I might throw an MMA guy here or there if you follow MMA. Overrated, underappreciated. Let's start off with Nicholas Miragali.
Ooh.
Especially after that big
Oh,
ADCC.
you had to start off with him.
Overrated, or he was celebrating his ADCC victory
Before he competed.
Yeah.
That's where this is hard.
Yeah, in a hot tub with Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, that's man, Marigali. Oh man, because that's okay. Here's the hard part: is like he's so good in the gi, he's so dominant in the gi, and that's where I don't know if that ADCC run was just his ego getting to the best of him, and Pixley just able to take advantage of Marigali thinking he's untouchable and just kind of checking him, and his gaining his respect also caused Marigali to kind of dwindle in his own mind of like what he can do, and then he got fucking hurt. God, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say overrated in no-gi specifically.
Yeah. That's wise. That's wise. I dig that. Ooh, that's a good one. Kind of Darte.
That's a tough one because he is a reigning champ. I'm gonna say underappreciated. He's definitely not overrated. I would say definitely underappreciated because I don't hear people talk about him as much. I feel like as people should, especially when we look at that Craig Jones match from ADCC 2022.
Right.
Yeah, the amount of stalling calls that he got when it was like, yeah, they didn't need to do that, but like overall his dominance and everything, he's definitely underappreciated, not talked about enough for sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you
So recently, J-Rod was promoted to brown belt in jiu-jitsu by his brother Nicky Rod.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Overrated, underappreciated.
Oh,
J-Rod,
man.
he had a hell of an ADCC run.
Okay. Hey,
I thought his run was pretty impressive at ADCC.
I'm a little biased. Maybe I think I'm a
Giancarlo
little
though
biased.
was a lot bigger. I felt like that was the difference in that one.
That was a natural versus geared match right there. We got to see that in its element. Like, and that's where, like, for me personally, following J-Rod since his start of his career, getting to where he's at now, I'm watching him go from like not winning trials to winning trials to not doing well to getting booted out first round to then taking second in his division, and also taking second in his division when he didn't cut weight. He just went in natural. Yeah. I think currently he's an underappreciated grappler for sure. I don't think he's overrated. He's like a natural, like, lifelong wrestler that's still learning jiu-jitsu and applying it, kind of like Nicky Rod, and like you're kind of seeing like how Nicky Rod's style is starting to change. I think J-Rod, just because of his approach to jiu-jitsu, like I saw a video recently. He had an overhook. Did you see that video? He had like
I don't think I did.
He had an overhook. He took the far hand, punched it under, grabbed the tricep, and then jumped to the person's back. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. You'd be in the elbow line like so quick. I was like, oh. So just little things like that. I'm like, oh, I was like, he's still learning. Yeah. So he's still figuring things out. Where I'm like, he's definitely underappreciated for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. And then you see older guys like Wagner Rocha, right?
Oh, yeah. Good old Wagner.
What do you think of Wagner?
A little biased on him too.
Yeah.
He does that I feel like Wagner's style of grappling is warranted only when you are disrespected. But he grapples with everybody like everybody fucked with him. So I'm like, okay, I get it, the aggression. I would say, God, because I'm going to say overappreciated. The reason why is because if you look at his ADCC runs, he plays the points so well. He plays the rules so well. That's how he's able to excel in those tournaments. Yeah. But then he gets to somebody like Mika, and then it's like it got pretty evened out at that point. He tried to, you could see him trying to work those strategies and the rules. Oh, yeah. But Mika's youth and technique and tenacity is definitely what he couldn't. Yeah, you can't overcome that. You can't overcome that, no. Even having those years of playing the rules and knowing where to go, like he couldn't.
What do you think about CJI going on the same weekend, right? Obviously that put a damper on a lot of like rematches people wanted to see, like Mika Galval and the Rotolos and stuff like that.
Big time. The Tackets.
Yeah. They were going to do ADCC originally.
Yep.
And then they pulled out. Do you think that would have had a huge impact on the winners and the losers of ADCC, or do you think
like if CJI wasn't around?
Mm-hmm.
I think it just, so I'm a little biased. I'm naturally going to call out when I'm being biased. Like, when I heard about CJI, bro, I was one of those dudes who was pissed because I planned my whole like vacation for the year was ADCC in Vegas. Like, that was my vacation. And then you get Craig Jones over here fucking it up, bro. Like, he like popped my bubble so hard that like all my friends, we have a group chat at Precision. We call it the whiskey group chat. We have sweaters, we have shirts. It's our thing.
Little club.
It's our little club. But like everybody talked so much shit on me for months because I was so upset that every time, you remember how they were talking about, they would do those, it's like a month or two before they would announce who's going to be in it.
Yeah.
Every
new announcement.
Every time there was a new announcement, they fucking tagged me, bro. And I was like, oh. And then at a certain point, I had to just be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. I'm going there with my dad to hang out.
Yeah. Man, there was a lot of people like that. And then I know a lot of people tried to hit both events.
Yes. I wish. So now I look back, I was being a little stubborn.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to actually go back and hit both events, especially when I found out there was like codes going on to get free tickets so they could fill up Thomas and Mac.
Wow.
There was. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did that on Friday night. So once ADCC ended, they sent out a code so people could get tickets for Friday night, and they, I think they did it for Saturday night too.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I think it was discounted Friday, and then I think free tickets Saturday. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Or vice versa.
They did well with it.
They did well.
They had to.
And I was like that dude, like talking mad shit. I was hating on it as much as I could because I was so upset that they ruined my vacation.
Yeah.
I was like, now I understand why they have a fuck Craig Jones rash guard. Like, I totally get it. But then after the events were over, I got home. They posted the matches on YouTube.
Yeah.
I watched the matches and I was like, fuck, this is actually a really great idea.
Yeah.
The wall is a great idea.
It's badass, right?
It's an amazing idea. It doesn't stop the action. It allows people to basically not play. It allows people to not do what Wagner has made a career off of.
Right.
That's what I always hate.
How long before you think we start seeing walls pop up in these local ones a little bit more?
Oh man, they better have some good funding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
Those things don't look that hard to build, right?
I would say the hard part about it is going to be transporting them and then storing them in between.
You got to get it somehow breakdownable.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Yeah.
I would say that's going to be the biggest part. The only other complaint I probably had about CJI was how long the event took, since it was one mat for a 16-man bracket. That's not efficient.
Yeah, it really wasn't, because it went till like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, late.
And I remember watching the last couple matches, like I doze off for like 30 seconds. I wake up like, oh shit, what I missed.
Those poor guys competing, bro. Yeah. Like, oh god.
But you know what? Like in all reality, like it was a great event, regardless of that. You're right. I think they could have done something. Maybe start earlier. I don't know what the direct solution is for that, but definitely there is something that could have been improved on.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if anything, I remember there was this whole talk with Craig coming out about saying, it's for the athletes and them getting paid and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, if you really cared about getting them paid, you get them two paydays. So you do ADCC one weekend, you have CJI on a separate weekend, but you just want to be competitive and get your name blown up and be disruptive.
Right.
Which I get. That's
Craig Jones' style too.
Well, that's where I think he's hanging out with Zuck.
Yeah.
I think the funding came from Zuck, bro. I don't think it's some Ukrainian dude. I think it was honestly Zuck, because when you start hearing the whole just being a disruptor, that's a tech phrase.
Yeah.
Being a disruptor is a tech phrase. I remember hearing about that. I'm like, like that business tech shit. I'm like, I know disruptor. Like,
it's very possible he's trained jiu-jitsu for quite some time now. And under Dave Camarillo and
it was run as a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So that's a write-off.
Yeah. That's good for him.
Yeah.
It's good for him. He needs those.
Exactly. He has a corporation to have like a $3 million write-off. Like,
yeah, no, that's definitely needed. Yeah, it's possible, man. And then
Eddie Bravo coming out.
Zuck's been kind of quiet too, like with the whole knee thing.
Oh yeah.
Has he made it back since the knee injury?
I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
I just seen that he's been upgrading his style and how he looks.
Yeah. Yeah, rich guy problems.
Yeah, man. He don't look like typical engineer anymore. He looks like somebody you want to kick it with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. You see these guys like Lex Friedman and Zuck and all these like weird guys doing jiu-jitsu, and it works. Like next thing you know, Elon's gonna be hitting arm bars and triangles.
Oh man,
dude.
Elon.
Imagine Elon Musk, right? One of the smartest guys in the world, right? Arguably,
Yeah.
but one of the smartest guys, and he starts to learn the finer nuances of an arm bar.
Oh yeah,
or the finer nuances of a back take.
Exactly.
And I wonder what he could be.
Oh, I bet he could be great at it, especially like he just has that focus and dedication. Definitely.
Yeah.
He'd be like Mikey Musumeci. His
For
ass.
some reason, I was looking at you. I knew that was coming out of your mouth. But what's your thoughts on Mikey? He's leaving the one organization. Did you hear that?
Oh, is he?
Yes, he officially has announced he's not re-signing with one. His contract is up.
I'm not surprised.
We never got to see the Cade Rotolo match.
I'm not surprised.
I was looking forward to that Cade Rotolo match. He
I
had
was
that
too.
whole disappearing act where he did the Hickson Gracie.
I think
breathing
stylistically,
techniques.
that's not a good match for him.
I don't think so either.
He doesn't, because he wants to be people's friend.
Yeah.
Like the whole Gio Martinez fiasco kind of showed like Mikey's like game plan and strategy leading up to a match where he wants to be nice to you and all that, and then you kind of have that leniency with him because you're nice.
Yeah.
And then seeing how he blew up at Gio after, when Gio was like, "Nah, dude, like I don't need to." Like, yeah. I honestly, I've never. Yeah, I don't.
Where do you think he ends up, Mikey?
That's the thing.
He said his main thing was he wants to come back to the United States. He's tired of being overseas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. There's probably I could see that, because we all know, we've seen Mikey's been to a lot of gyms in a very short amount of time, and I don't know, when I see that, I'm like, ooh, is it the gym or is it
Yeah.
It's kind of like got a girlfriend, is it you or is it them, like
it's hard with Mikey because there's things I like about him and I think he's a great competitor, but then there's things I'm like, what? This kid, what is this kid thinking?
Yeah, that's like I remember watching the videos with when he was with Daisy Fresh.
Yeah.
And then kind of hearing about them and that team and kind of the problems they had.
You brought that up.
Yeah.
Daisy Fresh. Talk about craziness. Someone.
Oh,
okay,
we'll see.
I talked to my buddy from Andre DeFrias' academy. His name's Nate. Shout out to Nate. He goes, "Hey man, I've been watching all these Andrew Wilty videos." I'm like, "What? I haven't heard shit from Andrew Wilty lately. Is he still around?" He's like, "Oh, bro, he's going off the deep end."
Off the deep end, bro.
And so I don't know how it popped up on my feed, but it was telling me to watch these videos when he's calling the FBI on Gordon Ryan, calling the FBI on Craig Jones. The poor kid's probably lost his mind now. He deleted his Instagram since the election.
Yep.
So I don't know what's going on. He's
using his girlfriend's account now.
Oh, is
to
he?
post his videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grace.
Yes. He's way out there. We know this.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm glad you've been keeping up with me too. But yeah, so Grace is now the voice for Andrew Wilty.
Yeah, bro.
Since the election.
Wild. That is. Oh man,
I gotta find her Instagram.
I'll send it to you. Because again, whiskey chat.
Yeah,
we have been following this train wreck. It's a train wreck. It's like it's crashing, and you can't help but watch it.
the poor guy, and he's publicizing it. That's the thing. Yeah. Like, if you're gonna go on that, have a mental health breakdown and whatever's going on with him personally, I hope he gets over it. Because he's a great jiu-jitsu competitor, but. Man, he's losing it, dude. And you can't get that deep into politics where you're screaming and yelling and going crazy, pulling out knives on Instagram.
Let's not. We're talking about. He talked about planning to go murder Gordon and Craig and stabbing them. And dude, like, you can't do that, bro.
Well, dude,
like,
and then the way he pulled out the knife and was licking it and laughing.
And then he's like, I'm a method actor. That was all fake.
Yeah, like what?
I'm tricking people. I'm a method actor.
Yeah,
Like, no.
you thought that was all real. It's not. And then I find it ironic that his brother's house burns down like last week.
Yep.
Kind of strange. I know the rumors online are, Andrew might have done it. I think Bird Wilty is saying like, hey, let the cops do their thing.
Yeah. There was a post from a buddy of mine sent me a screenshot. Apparently they have a sister as well.
Yeah. And she's probably crazy.
The sister
too.
posted that, no, the sister's cool.
Okay.
She's trying to help him, but he's been too crazy. Apparently she tried to burn her house down twice.
Wow.
Yeah. She posted about it. And my buddy sent me a screenshot of what she posted. I was like, dang, like that's that's some wild stuff, bro.
Yeah, it's insane.
There's some methy activities.
Well, okay, if you follow the Reddits, guys, we're talking real jiu-jitsu drama right here. If you follow the Reddits say that he started taking Adderall in 2022, and he ain't been the same since.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with Mr. Wilty. I don't think he's training jiu-jitsu.
No, he's not.
He
gained a lot
couch
of
too.
He's gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And his skin is what makes him questionable now, because he has some.
Dude, he looks disgusting. It looks like he hasn't showered in months.
He got that Stockton skin.
Yeah. That East Side skin.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, poor guy, dude. Like, I mean, he literally could be a jiu-jitsu world champion with tons of sponsorships, and I don't know, man. That Grace chick doesn't seem like she's the best help for him.
She's feeding it too. Yeah. She's just gasoline on the fire for him.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like when you see, some of his teammates just being quiet, them not doing anything. It's like they have all the ammo to really burn him down, and they're just all just staying quiet.
Yeah.
Like it's sad to see, but at the same point, it's like this is when dude needs help.
Yeah. I wonder if Heath has reached out to him at all. Like,
dude, he showed up to Daisy Fresh, bro.
Oh, what?
He he was driving and Grace was filming him, and he like pulled up to Daisy Fresh. Almost like so
the old
close.
building or the new one?
The new one.
Okay.
He pulled it to Daisy Fresh and like shook the door and all that and was like calling out Heath and everything, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, this was like 2 or 3 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I haven't seen his post or anything. I didn't know he was on Grace's now.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I got to get on that Whiskey Tango Foxtrot chat. Everyone's going to be like, who's this guy? He's the host of Grapplers Talk. It's all right. Let him get the news. Man, that's wild.
Yeah, dude, it's wild times. Jiu-jitsu. Who needs soap opera who needs a soap opera when you have
There's so
jiu-jitsu?
much drama. And then my favorite thing, Craig Jones, he's such a fucking great performer.
Amazing.
Dude. He posted the video of Andrew Wilty saying, I'm calling the FBI on Craig Jones. They're going to arrest him tonight. And first of all, he did an interview earlier that day. He was in Colombia on Ariel Helwani's show. And then he does that video where he's walking over the Mexican border, like, yeah, you ain't getting
I remember
shit.
that one. Yeah, that's right. Then he gets
man.
drugged in Colombia.
Yeah. Good Lord, man. Craig Jones is such a character, man. Like he's great for grappling. Like we need a character like that.
Yeah, he's grown on me like mold for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't his biggest fan. Like his humor was kind of like, oh, come on, dude.
It's Australian humor for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
But it's actually starting to really catch some fire in the jiu-jitsu community, and
it's like all satire.
Yeah.
It's all satire.
Yeah. He fucks with people all the time. Like Nikki Rod said, you can't win a fucking Facebook, Instagram, social media battle against Craig Jones. No. It's not going to happen.
No.
And man, Wilty's really biting off a lot with, and he's going off against Gordon too. Like, come on, dude, Gordon's pretty sharp on that Instagram stuff.
Gordon is barely engaged. He's engaged a tiny bit, but like he hasn't like tried to stick in there. Craig's done a better job for sure. Yeah,
definitely.
Craig's definitely done a better job.
Oh man, it's funny because like you look at those old school Daisy Fresh videos, right? And we've seen it in the first season where he was where the raccoon falling out of the ceiling and shit. But you see Andrew Wilty living in that little box and him talking about like, oh yeah, like I I don't even have my social security number, my birth certificate.
Yep, I remember that.
I'm having a hard time competing because of that stuff.
Yep.
And I was raised as a sorcerer and
Yeah, he thought he was raised to be a wizard.
right?
Yeah.
So like
He posted about how he's able to do his magic again too.
yeah,
He
so
taught a dog math.
so there's something going on there, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
knowing the way that kid was born and raised and he was everything's
affected for
going
sure.
on. Yeah, he's got
Definitely.
some serious shit going in.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
And it's just being broadcasted, and that's like I would say that's like the downside of social media, is like you
you see people's downfalls.
You can see people like I think the last time I've seen this like Danny Prokopos, when he went through it.
Yeah.
That was another one that's broadcasted over Instagram, and that was big talks within 10th Planet during the time.
Yeah.
You can think about so many different athletes that actually had this happen.
Yeah, it's a lot, dude. But like, you got to look at the reality. Like, he's in the middle of nowhere, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Man.
What the fuck is there,
Nothing.
right? And it's getting cold now, so it's gonna be fucking snowed in. He's gonna have nothing but time to do.
Have you seen? There's a documentary on Jacob Couch with Flo, and Jacob Couch. This is actually before his grandma passed away.
When he went out to see her.
He went out to see her, and he got to see the trailer he grew up in.
Yep.
That was like, I remember me and my girlfriend were watching that, and we immediately fell in love with this dude.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were like, what, like the humble
You
beginning.
tear up watching that thing,
And
it's
just
very
seeing like his
emotional.
love for his grandma.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like, cause
My
I get
Meemaw.
that. Yeah, his Meemaw. Yeah, I was like, oh, I get that. And seeing how like he talked to her in the video and stuff, I was like, you can just tell he's a good-hearted kid.
Yeah.
And we got to meet him at the meet and greet at the 2019? I think ADCC 2019. I think they had that one. Yeah, that one. And 2022, we got to meet him as well. And he's a nice ass dude. We talked to him for like 15 minutes. He's super nice.
Do you think like maybe part of it could have to do with like the Daisy Fresh documentary getting very big, and maybe Andrew thought he was a little bit of a star with it?
Big time.
And then that kind of transferred over into Couch being a pretty big star from the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Big
I mean,
time.
it had to have
Because
contributed
Wiltsey
somehow.
did that one WNO, and then after that WNO,
He got injured too, though.
He got injured, and then after that injury, he kind of fell off, and then that's when Couch started coming up.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that, because that's an age-old story within gyms of like, especially good gyms of like, hey, one guy's doing really good, and something happens, and then somebody else takes the light.
Well, he went from the star of Daisy Fresh, the first black belt promoted on the podium, to Couch being like a superstar, and hearing about those humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Like, it could have
And
definitely
Couch
played
has
a role.
some big feathers in his caps. Like Couch has earned his keep.
He's done well.
Yeah.
I think he's like, man, he's got to figure something out because he hasn't won many lately.
Yeah. Big
So
time.
he's definitely got to figure something out. Whether it be, am I doing gi, am I doing no gi, or am I just taking it?
I think people are just they're
approach.
hip on his leg locks.
Yeah.
So he needs to change it up for sure.
Oh yeah, they're starting to figure his game out
Big time.
to where he hasn't shown much new stuff recently.
Yeah.
So, man, dude, this has been awesome. I didn't know we were gonna get into Andrew Wiltsey. I'm so glad somebody brought this motherfucker up, dude. Poor guy, man. Like, for real. Like, I really do hope he figures it out. But I talked to a friend of mine who works in like the mental health field, and they were like, "Yeah, dude, it's very common. Like, he's having a psychotic break. That's what they do. They either self-medicate and it happens, and they can't do much about it." He goes, once they start mentioning religion and God, and they're in a battle with Satan and God, and that's exactly what he was saying, And I was like, yeah, dude, that's exactly what he's saying. He's like, oh yeah, he's just having a psychotic break. It's just sad that it's happening in front of everybody.
Yes, that's the sad part. Yeah, it's just happening in front of everybody. If it was like early 2000s, it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, everyone had one of those, right? Everyone would go into a barbershop and cut their hair off. And
just Britney ourselves.
Yeah. Britney, bitch. No, man, it's been fun having you on, man. It's been an awesome episode. I really, like I said, it made me very proud seeing that you're doing well at Precision, and seeing the atmosphere you guys have over there. It's really great. And obviously you being one of their leaders in the room now at Black Belt,
It's crazy.
You carry a role of not only, a rank in jiu-jitsu, but like people look to you for advice and different things like that. So with great power comes great responsibility.
Man, ain't that the truth? It's funny because when I went and saw Koa compete, I got to see Alex Kanders. And he hasn't seen me, so I got promoted. He congratulated me. He's like, "How you feeling?" I was like, man, you know, I don't know, I just feel a little bit of pressure. He's like, feel the responsibility, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, that's responsibility right there. I was like, okay. I was like, thank you for that.
No, that's good though, man. Like, especially like you've definitely earned your stripes, and you've been there and you've done that. You know, you've been around the game. Like,
it's a crazy thing.
It's wild, right?
Yeah. As long as we've been training since we met, like to like now, it's like, man, and it goes by quick.
Yeah, it really does.
It goes by very fast. Like thinking about like when we first trained together and like when we've rolled to like now, like it's a blink of an eye, man.
Yeah, it seems like yesterday, but it was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it should tell you to like cherish those moments, you know, like
big time.
A few years ago, I lost a lot of friends, and I was like, damn, dude, like I feel like I just seen them the other day, you know, and it's like you really want to appreciate those moments with your friends, and you never know like what's going to happen in life where 100%. Somebody may move away, right? And you don't see them as much. So it's those relationships that we create and harvest throughout our jiu-jitsu journey. You know, most of my friends that are like my closest friends in life are all jiu-jitsu related people.
Yep.
Like,
same.
It's
all my close friends, all jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
All jiu-jitsu. There's that's not, I don't think it's just like the camaraderie, but it's like there's I think a big part of jiu-jitsu is like perseverance.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't understand like really what that, like we understand what it means to persevere through a submission.
100%.
To really have somebody mounted on us, we're dead fucking tired, we can't breathe. You want to tap because it's uncomfortable, but no, I'm gonna figure a way out and get on top. Like you got to persevere through these things, and if you haven't done it, like you don't understand it. Yeah. It's like similar. I would say like it's not exactly the same, but it's like I would say it's the same camaraderie you see with people. Like we train with people who are special forces, they're enlisted, they're in teams, and you hear about how close they are, you know, with their team is because they go through all these things, they train together, they put each other through shit.
It's everything they go through together.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. And with jiu-jitsu, it's like a lot of people, I think they kind of fail to realize too, is like when you get done rolling, you get really open at the end of the night.
Yeah,
and you're able to talk about things. You're able to open up to your boys or whoever's around you about things, and like that's the bigger part. I think a lot of people, that's where they get the benefit of it, not just jiu-jitsu. But like I can make friends and talk about my life.
Well, and how much of that, I mean, I hate to do this, but going back to Andrew Wiltie, how much of that is missing from his life and maybe, 100%. You know, needed, right? To have that camaraderie in jiu-jitsu and, you know, to be able to get some of those feelings out. And, you know, guys, it's funny. I told Sensei Dennis recently, I was like, man, it's crazy. Like when you become a jiu-jitsu instructor, you're almost like a therapist as well. Like people come to you asking you questions and, you know, want to talk about things going on in their life. And
you're a leader.
You know, you're invested into them. You know, you want to make sure they're doing great and they're in a good headspace. And so you offer them whatever great kind of advice you can to build them up.
And the only advice is show up.
Yeah.
You'll have every excuse in the world to not go to class because this happened or that happened, or you don't have this, you don't have that. But it's like, just show up and just roll. And then when you're done rolling, you'll think about things a little bit clearer.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of it. But you sitting at home ain't going to make you feel better. Yeah. Thinking about it.
It's got to be something about like your brain focusing on like something else, right?
You're focused on one thing. Yeah. And that's the thing, like with jiu-jitsu, I'm sure you know, if you're not thinking about jiu-jitsu when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you think about anything else, you're going to get your ass whooped.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot think about anything else. The only thing that matters is the person you're grappling with, and what they're doing to you and how you can figure your way around that. If you're thinking about work, thinking about the argument you have with your girlfriend before you came to class, you're not going to do well. Yeah, no. You got to learn to like let that shit go for an hour. Yep. It's okay because guess what? It's going to be there when you're done training. Yeah. It doesn't go, it's not going to like
magically go.
Magically go, yeah. How many, there's been so many times I got in an argument and guess what? When I come home, we got to settle that shit. But guess what? I'm a little calmer to be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right. You got that aggression, that energy out, right? That negative energy. Yep. So it's very important, you know, for life, like the problem solving aspect alone, right? Yeah. You know, it teaches you how to like overcome things, right?
Hell yeah.
Like nothing's harder than jiu-jitsu, right? You're getting smashed by somebody bigger, right? You're on the bottom. You can't breathe. Like you're near death at that point.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It always feels good when you got energy.
Yeah.
But when you're dead ass tired and your lungs are burning and you want to move, but you're not moving, you're like, oh, what's wrong? Yeah. And that's when it counts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. It's been awesome having you on the show, dude. And I just thank you again for, being a part of this and being a part of Grapplers Talk. And, I wish you nothing but success in the future and whatever you have going on with competitions or continued success with Arte Suave. I just want to give you a few minutes to shout out whoever you'd like to. Just take a few minutes. The floor is yours.
Oh, thanks, man. Hey, thank you for having me on, bro. I mean, we've been friends for a long time. It's been cool to catch up and be here, and I appreciate it. A couple shout outs, of course. Precision Jiu-jitsu Academy. Master Chad for giving me my black belt and trusting me with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trust. And then also want to shout out Infinite Jiu-Jitsu, Gustavo Enriquez. And then, of course, Eric Shingu. Gotta go down the line.
The legend.
And 10th Planet Walnut Creek, Alex Canders. Arte Suave, of course, with Fredo and Don and Jaden, the owners of the show. Those guys are all awesome. And then I also want to shout out some good friends of mine, Open Mat Chronicles, my boy Harold Schaefer, and then Rod. Damn, Rod, I forgot your fucking last name, dog, and I'm so sorry. I call him Microwave Rod because he's no light mode, man. He's just ready to go all the time. But yeah, I want to give them a shout out because I've been on their show a few times and they've been good to me. So yeah, I want to give them a shout out. Nice. But yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, it's been awesome to have you, and go check out Percision Jiu-jitsu Academy. It's a great school. If you're in the area, if you're just looking to cross train, take a look at it. It's one of the top schools around. Master Chad and Sarah McMahon and everyone's doing great out there, and you guys got a really good program. So I just wish you all continued success at Precision. Other than that, this has been another awesome episode. Make sure you like Grapplers Talk, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. Once again, this is Dave, and we are out.
This is Grapplers Talk.